Hello everybody. Today we are going to read the story, The Tiny Seed by Carle. Let's see what happens to the tiny seed. It is autumn. Autumn's another word for fall, that time of year when it starts to get cold. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? There's the tiny seed going with all the flower seeds. I wonder where they're going. One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up it goes. It flies too high and the sun's hot rays burn it up. There it is. Got too close to the sun and it burned up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. Tiny seed is still there, floating on the wind. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. So here are the other seeds flying on, and there's the tiny seed still floating on the wind. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water. Oh, there it is, falling in the water, and drowns. The others sail on with the wind. But the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. Ooh, it's very close to the water, isn't it, that tiny seed? So there's the seed that fell in the water. And if a seed falls in the ocean, it can't grow. And the other seeds are still flying on the wind. One seed drifts down onto the desert. There it is in the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes, oh, there it is. But the wind pushes it on with the others. The tiny seed is still moving with the wind. And this seed landed in the desert. It will not be able to grow because seeds need water. And there isn't enough water in the desert for that seed to grow. Poor seed. Finally, the wind stops and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. It's another seed that won't get to grow. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. There's the tiny seed right there. So the bird can't see it because it's so tiny. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settled down. So they kind of settled down into the soil, into the ground. They look just as if they're going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for lunch. That seed's getting eaten by a mouse. But the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. Oh, where is that tiny seed? Oh, there it is. Tiny seed is not getting eaten by the mouse, but this one is. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow is melted. It is really spring now. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls. So we have sun and rain, and it's warm again. The soil is warm, so now the seeds can start to grow. The seeds grow so round and full that they start to burst open a little. Now they are not seeds anymore, they are plants. First, they send roots down into the earth. Remember when we learned about the roots going down in the ground when plants grow? And then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up toward the sun and the air. So the stems and the leaves go up. There is another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big fat weed. and it takes all the sunlight and the rain away from one of the small new plants, and that little plant dies. So this big fat weed is keeping the rain and the sun from falling on that little plant, so that little plant won't be able to grow anymore. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. It will be too late. Hurry. But finally, it too starts to grow into a little plant. Oh, so the tiny seed is the last one to start growing. It's pretty small, isn't it? I wonder if it will be able to grow big and tall. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun in springtime. One child doesn't see the plants as he runs along, and oh, he breaks one. Now it cannot grow anymore. He stepped on it with his foot, and now it's broken. Where's the the tiny seed plant is still there, though. So that plant won't grow any larger. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud, and now a flower. But what is happening? First there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them. Then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. Somebody came to pick the flower. So that plant won't grow any taller. It's being picked. A boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. Oh, he picked that flower for his friend. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. Look at that. The tiny seed, the tiniest of all the seeds, grew into this big, giant flower, and everybody's coming to look at it. Wow, that's pretty cool. It's taller than the house. All summer long, the birds and bees and butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. So they come to see the flower too. The birds and the bees and the butterflies. They like that big flower. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter. The nights grow cooler. And the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower because the leaves are starting to turn colors because it's autumn or fall when the leaves turn colors in fall. Some petals drop from the giant flower. So here are the flower petals. And they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. So the petals are coming off the flower just like the leaves are coming off the tree in the fall or autumn wind. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of the petals. It sways and bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more, the wind shakes the flower, and this time the flower's seed pod opens. So this is the pod that had the seeds in it, right in the middle of the flower. Out come many tiny seeds that quickly sail far away on the wind. So there are seeds inside the giant flower that grew from a tiny seed. And now that it's autumn, these seeds are floating away on the wind. Where do you think they'll go? What do you think is going to happen to these seeds that came from the flower, that came from our tiny seed? What do you think will happen to those seeds? Can you think about that and draw me a picture of what's going to happen to all these seeds that came from the giant flower. So draw me a picture of what you think will happen to those seeds. And if you want to, you can send me a picture of your picture of the seeds from the giant flower that came from the tiny seed. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.